Okay, for those of you that are visiting, about 10 after 2, 15 after 2, we wrap it up for the day. And we also give our best calls for the overnight session. We have clients outside of the United States that trade London time. And it's a real advantage. I mean, if you can trade London time, the trades are slower. It really, really does offer you a lot of opportunity. So our wrap-ups can help you trade the overnight. And it really sets the stage for the next day too. About 70% of the time, whatever we say today counts for tomorrow, minus news. Okay, we took a couple of live trades in the room today. Short at 13.25, covered it at 13.25. Could have gotten 2 points out of it. You only know that in hindsight. We were going for 3. Really, it's a marginal trade right here. Especially in a congestion area where the market's not really doing anything. So we break it out, we come up, we get a nice retest failure that we identified. We get an S right here, come out the bottom of that bar, we're short. And we got our 3 points that we liked. Market set here, we make a new intraday low, so you're looking to get short. This is a legitimate trade. This is a legitimate trade. Legitimate trade, all of them. So these software generated trades all produced winners for you. And post lunch, not a lot goes on. The peak selling by the 50 lot trader came right here, and since then they've gone long, and it's this 50 lot trader that typically provides stability in the market. We'll put the bottom in. Market didn't go for stops below 2100 yet. That is significant. They stopped 5 ticks above it. Multiple tests right here. Right here, this is probably the best long setup because they tried to take it lower, tried to break it over 3 bars, and when you take out that little skinny bars high right there, gives you a nice little trade. Now, it stops at the value area low. This is important. When the market starts to move, and if it's still in a trending condition, the value area low and a down market or value area high, and a top market is going to hold when it retests and it moves back to it. So love this trade against the value area low. When you take out that skinny bars low, you can be short to see if we can take out that low. And then right here, got the green dot with deceleration. You have a decision to make, and you can see that the 50 lot trader is not going with the trade. We will do videos on the E-mini and on the 30-year today. Those are posted every night on our YouTube channel, where you can go back in and recap the trades. And this is where you really start to drive the methodology home and help your trading. So what do we have on the F1 screen? Every day we look at every market the same. And this is our cap flow screen, and you can see right here that capital is coming out of the market. You've got a lower high, and that generates a lower low. And our attractor down here is 2095, that high volume number. And I think we got a pretty good chance of getting there. Then the issue is, can we break it from that point? I don't know if we can. It's been a pretty choppy market. It's been a seller above 2120, and there's been a buyer below 2085 when you go back and look at the market here so far in June. So this screen has us a seller. It's no more complicated than that, and we'll talk about why that constitutes a sell over time. How do you get a lower high, which creates a lower low? By capital coming out of the market. The large players are selling. And once you understand that, then the analysis really doesn't have to be much more complicated than that. I know it sounds simplistic in the rest of it, but if you understand the dynamics about how that happens, then make it work. I think the trading target is 95, so I got support 2100, 2095. I think we got a pretty good chance of taking out 2100 yet this afternoon. We'll see if it happens. Over the top, this break from 8. Last rotate up, stopped at 5 to 7, so this is very, very aggressive, and this is for Globex. We're selling. If the market were to close right now, we'd be selling 5s to 7, and then we'd be selling 10s to 12s. Trying to pick up this area right in there. Based on Globex, 2100 by 1 plus or minus, 95 by 2 plus or minus, and we'll see if that actually plays out overnight. We do have news tomorrow, and this news could impact the trading. Jobless claims, the default number 273. It's usually 275. If it's the only piece of news, it can impact the trading, but it usually doesn't. Personal income up 0.4, and they're hopeful that personal spending, that they've now relabeled consumer spending, up 0.7. They would like to see that. Core PCE, which is the Fed's favorite number for inflation, up 0.1. PMI services, pretty strong number, 56.5. And natural gas inventories, and I'll have that number in the morning. So the focus is going to be jobless claims and personal spending, with personal spending getting most of the focus, and then perhaps the third, PMI services. So the 2105 to 07 is pretty aggressive. It's for Globex, assuming a close at 2103. 2102. Okay, looking at the 10-year, which is, this is the world's biggest market, and you see it in the value of the contract, and you also see it in the number of contracts traded. We've got a lower high and a lower low. This favors lower prices tomorrow, but we have the 7-year auction, and they're not going to let the bottom fall out of the market because they have to move 7-year paper tomorrow. And my guess is that we'll close tomorrow's market 125.18 or higher. Why that price? Because that's where the auction has taken place yesterday and today. So we have a pretty clean break in this 19 area right here, so hopefully we can come back into this tail. So I'm going to try to buy 13s to 17s. They can't take a market straight up because people are pretty good on the buy side. So the market has to go backwards and back and forth. Selling failure to take out 24.28. I think we got a pretty good shot of doing that, assuming the E-mini doesn't fall out of bed this afternoon. And 31 to 03 for sell 2. Buy number 2 will be 5 to 9. What we try to do is we try to assess the market, P or a B, pointed higher, pointed lower, and if you wanted to come right in and take a look at this. Off the low, you can see that we're dealing with a P, and I do an I split like that, and I've got another P right there. So I'd have pretty good support in this high volume area, 17 down to 13. The E-mini falls out of bed, even higher. So 13 to 17 is the buy. May take 21s to get in. A lot of it just depends on what the E-mini does. Then 5 to 9. Knob spread expanded today, got wider. We came in this morning with a knob spread at 23.20. Went out at 24.04. So we had 12. We had 16. It picked up a half a point today, $500. And that's, to me, on the note, that's the best indicator I know of which way is the knob spread going. Okay, if we put all this together, you can see that we're dealing with a fairly strong P. I'll do an I split right there. You can see where we are. In the overall scheme of things, if we were to do a split from B up here, it would still be a from B, it would be a B. But we got a shot at a move out of the middle. That's our rule number 3. Markets come to a balance. For those of you that saw the webinar yesterday, we got to move out of a high volume area. So we're at 23. The bottom of the tail is 6. We've got volume at 8. We got this ledge right here at K, the split right here, so 13 to 17 by 1. And then the bottom of this is 5 to 9 will be by 2. I like the buy side. I'll like it tomorrow just because of the 7-year auction. Focus, jobless claims, personal spending or consumer consumption, and then PMI services. 7-year auction. Once this number is out of the way right there, then the focus would shift to the 7-year auction. And we'll have news spikes from what's going on in Greece. 27 to 31 on the sell side. I'm going to give it room on the sell side. Don't really care too much about getting short. Then 7 to 11 for sell 2. Now, our assessment of the market can change, and it may or may not be true, but if you get everything going, if you get the context, if you get our assessment of the market going, if you've got our levels involved, and then you get deceleration, you've got about as strong a trade as you can find. And when everything is in sync and everything goes, it makes for much easier trading. The problem with both crude and the E-mini is that quite often they don't follow fundamentals. Okay, excuse me, I should have done the F1 screen. Okay, just structurally right here you can see that this 57, 59, 57, 70 area is pretty good support. So we're at 73.60, so the right now this screen tells us to be a seller, but until something is resolved with Greece, I don't think the sell can really develop, even though we can drift lower. But you can see there's a lot of selling interest. There's not a lot of follow through on this contract. So inside the congestion area, you can see that the volume is leaning P. I've got a 5-tick tail right here. I've got a 3-tick tail there. So this tells me that the bottom might be in. So buy 1, 69 to 71. Buy 2, 65 plus or minus. On the sell side, resistance is at 75. So 75, 77, sell 1 for Globex, and then 79 to 81 for sell 2. Crude oil got hit today. We don't usually generate that second day of follow-through buying nor selling in crude oil. It's just a pretty quiet market. So we'll get a nice rally up, looks strong, sells. Looks like weak, then it rallies back up. We get a higher high right here, higher low, and it's bounced off the bottom. So we got a pretty good buyer below 59.50, and we definitely have a seller above 61.50, and here we are at 60.32. It's this lack of follow-through activity, and things look pretty bright when we make a high, and things look pretty bad when we make a low, but they tend to hold as this market chops, moving sideways through time. So we've rejected prices below 60. First buy is 59.75, 60. Then 59, 59 and a quarter. Give it some room. We spilled from, took out this A period low right there, so F period high. So we're going to make 75 to the buck, sell 1. going to put a question mark by 50. If we don't get through 50 in London and it starts down, you got to be short. And then 50 to 75 sell too. Okay, the euro. When a deal is about to be made, it rallies. When a deal is not going to be made, it sells. When a deal is finally made, it's going to sell, in my opinion, because the day of reckoning has arrived. You're going to have to start paying for Greece. So, definitely a seller above 114. We have had a buyer in the pretty clean break in the market down at 1075, so that's not too far away. This screen tells us we're sellers. Greece packed it up and walked away from the table this afternoon. Remember, June 30th is the day of reckoning with the IMF, so there'll be a lot more of these meetings, and you can just see how Greece dominates the news cycle, the financial news cycle now. So we're definitely dealing with a B. This 1225 area maybe stops above that, so 1240, 1250 sell one, maybe a little higher in London. They didn't break it today. And 75.85 sell two. On the buy side, 1175, then 1150. Thank you so much for visiting us today with our new visitors in the room. Hopefully we generated some answers for you, but watch us tomorrow and Friday, and then on July the 6th you can come in for an extra week and we'll pick it up and run from there. Hotter than blazes here in Wichita, Kansas. Winds blowing 25 to 30 miles an hour. The wheat harvest will progress rapidly. We need this hot, dry weather, and we need the high winds to dry everything out. I guess that's what the air conditioning is for. I'll see everybody back in the room in the morning, 6:45 a.m. Central Time. Y'all have a great evening. I'm out of here.